can't handle them feels. I thought I had become tougher, but I can't hide my true self. Everything is awesome again.
Hello!
Run! It's like it knows our every move.
Weird, right?
Emmett!
What?
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage, and for me Warner Bros. Animation did 4 for 4 so far with their Lego movies. The very first one took the world by surprise in 2014, and that it wasn't even nominated for the Oscars Best Animated Feature Film when it should actually have won will always be one of the biggest snubs. Instead of going directly for the next adventure of our beloved hero Emmett, the very personification of good, they went for 2 spin-off movies. The Lego Batman movie, which almost casually turned out to be one of the best Batman movies ever made, and the Lego Ninjago movie, which was received rather mixed, but I still thought it was quite good, with a lot of energy and very cool ideas. Now, 5 years later, we finally get our true second part to the original, and when I call it the third best film in the franchise, that's still very high praise, because they are all quite wonderful. It isn't as great as the first Lego movie, and naturally it can't recreate that absolutely unexpected and surprising level of freshness, but I think it does top it in other departments. Overall, it's not as funny and not as perfectly put together. It's not as dense and not as dynamic and well structured. It also has some sequences where the editing felt a bit off, where several different places and characters and their ongoing actions are cut together and it didn't run completely smoothly. On 1 or 2 occasions I almost forgot that we were in the middle of an action scene at one place when we suddenly cut back to that. But where I think the Lego Movie 2, the second part, totally delivers is in the handling of its themes, ideas and emotions. Like the first film, it was written by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, and at this point I think they deserve to be called filmmaking geniuses with all what they have done. From their debut film Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs to 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, as well as their involvement in the Lego Batman movie and the masterpiece that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Not to take away anything from all the other creative minds that were involved in all of those projects, but whatever these two guys touch is at least in some shape or form fascinating or simply awesome. And while it took a little bit in the first half of the Lego Movie 2, I think everything is awesome again. The second film wasn't directed by them, but by Mike Mitchell, whose filmography is a bit bumpy. His last film was Trolls, which I didn't like at all, but that's forgiven now. The story continues where the first Lego movie left off, but it also cleverly integrates the 5 years that have passed in the meantime. As you remember, at the end of the first adventure it was revealed that everything going on was the spectacular imagination of a young boy playing with his Lego bricks, or rather his father's Lego bricks. The world of the Lego movies and its rules are not so easy to grasp, and their restrictions are rather fluid, which opens up a lot of room for creative and totally out there ideas, as well as a lot of self-referencing and meta-humor. Chris Pratt is the voice of our protagonist Emmett, and the sheer amount of subtle and not so subtle allusions to his persona and career alone are quite spectacular. We also learned at the end of the first film that the little boy has to let his younger sister allow to play with him and his Lego toys as well from now on. So the general direction of the story was already primed, but the new movie really takes its time until it fully reveals what that means exactly. Because our perspective is of course the perspective of the Lego characters, and for them everything in their world is an absolute truth. And of course it's also the story reality we as the audience believe and invest in. Yet we also know, at least in the back of our mind, that there is at least one other layer on top of it. And how those two main layers, the inner Lego world and the outer human reality, come together and interact with each other is absolutely fantastic. And for someone who has a little sister as well, I can only say that it held an emotional impact for me that I wasn't expecting. It also keeps letting you guess how everything might be connected or what the overall meaning might be. Children will most probably just like it for the Lego adventure with all of its wacky humor and fast-paced action alone, at least on the first viewing. But grown-ups who are invested in this Lego universe have enough to wrap their heads around and figure out for themselves. And at least I couldn't fully solve every mystery right away, and the movie surprised me with some great twists. You probably will have a general idea, and Some clues are more obvious than others, but then the movie gets even better and more clever than what you might expect. Up to the point where I thought that this is a truly great film, and for all of its minor shortcomings, it's still so much better than most other animated features, which is actually saying a lot because it's a field that's very rich and full of good films. But to point out some more concrete highlights, the journey that Emmett has to take and the reveals it holds for him only expands his great character even more, which I loved. Tiffany Haddish voices the antagonistic queen Vadevra Wannabe, and she's easily the best new character. Her introduction is amazing, and when she bursts out into a song and it is revealed that this will be a musical, though only containing a few songs, I was totally on board. Her song, Not Evil, is super funny, catchy, and the animation around it is top notch. And Haddish has one of those super distinct voices, and her character is very ambivalent and interesting. Her relationship and interactions with Batman are even better, and there is plenty of it. The new character, General Mayhem, doesn't leave the biggest impact, certainly much less than Good Cop, Bad Cop, and Morgan Freeman was also a little bit missed. But like I said, when it comes to the film's emotions and themes, it delivers, and that weighs heavier for me than the comedy and action, which is fine, but not as great as in the first film. So in German I'd say, diese verdammten Lego-Filme kriegen mich einfach jedes Mal. Der zweite Teil ist vielleicht nicht so frisch, witzig und perfekt zusammengebaut wie der erste, aber er hat so viel Herz und seine Ideen sind so viel größer, als er es überhaupt nötig hätte, dass ich am Ende doch wieder ganz verliebt war. Alles ist wieder super. I give the Lego Movie 2, the second part, 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.1, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And also let me know what is your ranking of the 4 Lego movies. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.